Hello, Las Cruces, New Mexico, and welcome back to another episode of Be Heard, where your voice will be heard. I'm here with mayoral candidate Jorge Sanchez and our friend and guest Lorenzo Ramirez. How you doing, Lorenzo?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me today.
We're glad to have you. You were the head of Ascension Collective, correct?
Yeah, correct. We do everything from live events to management. Manage Legit Alpha, a DJ producer from Las Cruces.
Very nice. Now, today we are going to be fielding topics. So I'm going to bring up a topic, and us three are going to hash it out and just conversate about it and find out what we're going to be, where we stand on the issue.
Okay. And for those of you who missed last week's episode, my name is Jorge Sanchez, and I'm running for mayor of Las Cruces, New Mexico. Me llamo Jorge Sanchez y estoy corriendo para ser mayor de Las Cruces, Nuevo Mexico.
Let's go ahead and get this thing started. So we're going to start with the topic of construction here in the city.
Yeah.
All right. What are you thinking about that?
I think there's way too much of it right now at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look down Valley, they just started on University. It's really bad because they're taking up the whole street instead of just doing it portions at a time,
mm-hmm.
which is what I would have done differently instead of having every business and everyone suffer, everyone late to work, to class. It's just not good.
It's certainly an issue, and every day it seems like more and more is starting, especially on Valley. And Valley's been going on, it feels like since I was born, because I have been avoiding it for as long as I can remember. And it's just, now that it's starting to kind of creep into University, it's just like, where can I drive in peace?
Exactly, and even when I was when I'd be showing houses over there on that side of town, it would suck as a realtor to have to drive through all that traffic. Mm-hmm. People, you would just lag, and it's just not a good thing.
It definitely does cause hassle, stress, headache throughout the whole day too.
I agree.
So as mayor, what I would have done is I would have put it in smaller portions, got them done in shorter amounts of time, instead of having all the businesses suffer for over a year. Like you've seen, some of the businesses have closed down over that. It's just not okay.
It also causes accidents. I've seen a lot of accidents around the city just because of how spread out it is, or even traffic not being directed, the right way. So
exactly,
that's very true. Because a lot of the times it's unclear, because they put you on the complete opposite side of the street that you're normally on, right? And you don't know whether or not you could turn or not. So it's just a weird situation. Now you mentioned the difficulties with being a realtor, having to go through all that.
Yeah,
I have a question regarding property value. Is it harder for you to sell a house whenever they're near all this kind of construction?
Yeah, it is, because not only do you have a hard way to get to your house, you also have all that sound from all the construction.
Mm-hmm.
You get all that sound, and it does bother not only the businesses but the neighbors and all that. You don't like a new house being built next to yours at 4 a.m, 5 a.m.
I would not at all. And one thing that I think isn't stressed enough is urgency with these construction projects. It feels like they get started and it's just kind of getting done whenever it gets done.
Exactly.
I definitely feel like there's pros and cons though. It's good for the city, but what are one areas that you think that should be improved?
Well, I think the sense of urgency does need to be improved. I feel like as a city we need to set deadlines. Instead of asking when it'd be done, I think we need to tell the construction companies that we hire for these jobs when we need them done by, and we want it done right by this date. Because the way it's working right now, it's just kind of, hey, we want you to do this job, and it could take years to get it done, when we need to say, hey, I want this road finished in 3 months, in 6 months, whatever it takes, but I need it done by this date.
Right.
We're not giving them deadlines like we should.
Right.
That should definitely be included into the bid.
I agree. And see, I have friends in Arizona, and they have to do road work as well, but they're getting things done within a month. They're taking out full bridges and putting a whole new one back in less than a month. So I don't know. I feel like there's just something that needs to get done to spur the horse or something. All right, we're gonna move to the next topic: school security.
Yeah.
So I think this is a pretty prominent topic, given that today's climate regarding school violence.
Yeah.
It's a very unfortunate issue, but there are repercussions. We have to talk about school security now. What's your take on that?
Well, it's actually affected us here in New Mexico as well, it's heartbreaking. Just a little bit up north, there was that shooting at Aztec High School or something like that. It was just horrible to see some children go to school to get their education and end up being killed there.
Right.
That's horrible. I feel like the answer is not giving the teachers guns and arms, but we need to give them to the security guards. We need to train the security guards, get ex-cops, ex-military officials, retired ones, and just put them in at the security position. I mean, we went to school not too long ago, right?
Yeah.
And as you can tell, we didn't have much security. We could drive in and out of school like nothing. Walk in building a building, random classes. Like, that's not okay. We need more security, and we need to train our security guards to be able to protect the school and protect the students.
We went, another thing, we obviously went to Centennial High School together. One thing when we were in school that I would see is a bunch of people going into the schools that, that either didn't go there or just random visitors that didn't, instead of going to the office to get the visitor pass, like they just drive in right through the parking lot.
That's true.
I definitely agree that we need to up the security.
And that's interesting because, like, at Centennial, they have those big metal gates and metal heavy doors, right? They look like they're trying to keep people out, but they're wide open. You can walk right on in.
Open, and that's sad. We need to protect our children. I mean, they're the whole future of this community. We need to protect them at all costs. We shouldn't have anybody afraid to be able to go to school here in the whole world, honestly. That's just the problem.
Yeah, I agree completely. And you brought up, hiring ex-vets, or not ex-vets, vets, ex-cops, that kind of stuff. I think that's pretty important because we saw, I forget which shooting it was, but there was a security guard who obviously wasn't properly trained for the situation, and he ran out and away from the situation, whereas people were inside getting killed.
Exactly.
It's scary stuff, but people need to be there ready to react.
Yeah, and the problem at Centennial also is it's hard when they lock the doors, because they do that for emergency purposes sometimes at the buildings now, but they make it hard to get in, but it's also hard to get out. You know what I mean? If there is an emergency, and that's a big problem there. We need to fix our security just here in all the schools, honestly.
Right. And I think we should note that we're not trying to dog on Centennial.
No, we're not.
This is school-wide. Yeah,
this is
all
nationwide.
Nationwide, everywhere. Yeah. All right.
Do you think maybe like giving the security guards better pay would probably be a better
I feel like everybody
to bring people in and make them
public schools deserves a better pay.
Definitely.
Agreed.
Because they have a lot on their plate to handle for the pay that they're getting. And that's one of the things I want to work with Las Cruces Public Schools is to not only give them the funding, because if we can't get them the pay that I want to give them, we'd at least want to give them the resources that they have to make their job a little bit easier for the pay that they're getting. And if not, we have to give them the pay for the amount of work they're giving us.
I agree. And I think that directly correlates to the quality of education that we're getting. Because if you're not paying the teacher, their proper wage, why would they have any motivation to teach to the best of their ability?
Exactly.
If they're not being paid what they feel they're worth. Because they are worth a lot.
Yeah.
So
it's honestly some situation, like even at our live events that we have in El Paso and Las Cruces, ever since the El Paso shooting happened, the direct messages, emails that we've been getting to up security has been crazy. We had an event on August 3rd that actually we had it planned out through the night, and unfortunately, the tragedy happened that earlier that day. That I really do think that public schools should be something that we need to up, security, even like I said, training the teachers on how to react to a situation like that would also be a good thing for the public schools.
And that's not a good thing that we had to have a tragedy happen so close to our community. It's heartbreaking what happened in El Paso. I went a week ago on Sunday, and I did talk to some of the victims' families, and I'm going to be honest, I cried with them. It was heartbreaking to hear the stories to hear stories about how their family members, their mother, their son, their brother or sister, they just go to Walmart to shop on a Saturday morning and not be able to get that chance to come home. It's sad, and that's a problem that we need to fix before it hits our community.
I agree
completely. Because it pretty much already did, and that's just heartbreaking. It's a hard emotion.
It's very hard. It's shaking. It'll shake you. All right, we're going to move on to the next topic. Domestic violence in the city. What's going on there?
See, I think domestic violence has always been a problem. What I want to do personally is I want to give tougher laws on them. Tougher sentences, better yet.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of these people will go commit a crime like that, which is not okay at any point or any situation. It's just not okay to do that. And they need tougher sentences because some people will commit this crime and then they'll be back on the street the next day. And that's not okay.
At all. And it's especially not okay for the victim, you know, because it makes the system seem as if it sympathizes with the abuser. And
I've seen it happen too many times where...
As have I, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just not okay. We need to get some change in that, and I'd want to work with the local courts to change the sentences if I have the power to do that.
Also have to, like, think about domestic violence that goes unnoticed. You know, there's a bunch of it that happens what nobody even knows about. We need to get, you know, what could we do, what could you do to give the people that are going through this a way to, like, speak up? Or
I'd want to give them a voice. Yes, I want to make it more comfortable.
We definitely have to make something happen where it's give it like an outlet. You know, they're not scared to go talk to you know someone about it, and it could get handled the right way.
And that's why, because they're scared.
Yeah. I think that's a matter of the culture within the community.
Yeah,
we have to change the culture surrounding victims and make them understand that.
And it's a lot of time because people get scared, you know, and especially with what I just said. If you get that crime committed upon you, and then your abuser is just on the streets the next day, that is not okay. That's a big reason on why a lot of people are scared to come out on these crimes that have been committed against them. So I don't really want to change that and have people feel more comfortable to come out on these crimes.
Very nice. All right, we're going to move on to our next topic, and it is homelessness within Las Cruces. Now, this is an issue everywhere, obviously, but what's your take on our local homelessness issue?
I had read an article today in the Las Cruces Sun News, and that's why I wanted to bring up this subject as well. And it's not only their homelessness, it's the way we treat them. And that's a big problem here because I've seen it so many times where they get thrown out of restaurants, they get thrown out of stores, and that's not okay. Homeless people are also a part of this community, and instead of pushing them away and treating them wrong, we need to help them out. We need to get them back on their feet. And this community isn't showing that in a lot of parts, you know, and it really does anger me when I've walked into restaurants and I just see them force them out for no reason, just for them walking in pretty much. That's not okay.
Gotcha.
You used to manage a restaurant locally, right?
Yeah. I used to manage Delicia's Cafe, and I used to have homeless people actually come by about every day, honestly, and I would help them out. I would give them free drinks. I'd give them burritos or whatever I could, you know?
I definitely remember a situation where I was there, and I did see you do that, and, man, it touched me because, I used to also manage a restaurant locally, and any chance I got, I helped out. But, you know, when I saw George do that, it was definitely, like, you know, eye-opening, you know?
Right, I got you. Now, we're going to be touching on more topics similar to this, and we're probably going to continue a bit on the topic of homelessness whenever we come back from our commercial break. We have a lot of interesting topics to cover with Jorge Sanchez, Las Cruces mayoral candidate, and our friend and guest, Lorenzo Ramirez, head of Ascension Collective. So stick around, come back after the commercial break, and we'll see you then.
So great, you can do all these different gears in the clan.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, guys, not all.
Granite is here. We'll come to you to customize your kitchen and bathroom with beautiful countertops and cabinets. Find out more at horizongranite.com. Call us at 575-650-3180.
Horizon Granite is here.
It's here.
Make yourself a beautiful home.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Welcome back, Las Cruces, New Mexico, for another episode of Be Heard, where your voice will be heard. We're fresh off the break. We were just talking about some interesting topics. We were leaving off on homelessness, and we're going to pick up on that today. I'm here with mayoral candidate George A. Sanchez and our guest Lorenzo Ramirez. Now, regarding homelessness, you said that you're not happy with the treatment of homelessness people here, right? What do you think can be done to better the situation of those who are homeless and possibly prevent homelessness from others?
Well, like I told you before, I do plan on giving them jobs, getting them back on their feet. It's called the Back on Your Feet program, which I'd want to establish here in Las Cruces. But like I said, it's not the only problem. We need to help them out from the beginning and just the way they're getting treated. I mean, I personally, if I see a person on the street and I do have cash on me, I like to donate it to them. Or there's been times where I saw this one man sleeping outside of McDonald's, and he kind of came over, called me over, and it broke my heart. I bought him a meal. I kind of sat down with him and talked to him about it, and he would tell me some stories on how people would just come and hit him for no reason. Like, they would treat him like he said, like trash or furniture. They would just, it's sad. I just can't deal with that.
And that doesn't sound characteristic of Las Cruces. Yeah, so to hear of someone's experience like that here in our own town is, it's kind of unsettling.
What's that like? What are some type of jobs that they could take over? Like cleaning up. They do have like the inmates cleaning up the side of the roads. What's something we could at least incorporate into like giving them the opportunity to get back on their feet and all that.
Well, what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a city-run factory that provided housing, and like I said before, homelessness and drug addiction do go hand in hand, and I would provide mental help, therapy, or psychiatrical therapy and drug rehabilitation, just to help them get back on their feet. And there's plenty of jobs around the city we can do. Like we were supposed to talk about environment, cleaning up the desert, because desert pollution is going to become a big problem, because we do have an ecosystem in the desert as well, and there's so much trash and plastic. We can pay some of them to go, some people that need help to go help clean it out and do things like that, help the environment.
Right, and that brings up a good topic, our environment. Because, as you said, the desert is indeed an ecosystem. What do you think needs to be done to prevent further pollution of our community and keep it, as I think the slogan is now, keep Las Cruces beautiful?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what we need to do is toughen our littering laws, because, as you can tell, a lot of people aren't really following them. Because I personally have taken hikes through the desert, or I'll just go wandering through the desert. I did when I was younger, and the amount of trash you see out there is just, it's crazy.
You definitely have a bunch of like illegal dumping going on as well. So, I mean, something being done about that would definitely be a big help.
Exactly, and these are problems we need to fix as a community before it becomes a problem. I mean, you saw the ocean. No one ever talked about it until it became almost unsolvable. We need to do this and take action now before it becomes too late.
And your suggestion would be to give, say, homeless people, jobs in cleaning up.
Yeah, and that's all it takes, is taking care of our community is all it takes. But this is our environment, this is our world, this is our future. We need to take care of it, and it starts now.
And what's your stance on clean energy? Is that something you see for the city?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have wind turbines added here. I haven't really seen any. You go to other places, and they pretty much have them all across those states. And
they're everywhere.
Yeah, and I haven't really seen many here in New Mexico.
There's been a bunch of solar energy that's been getting incorporated.
Yeah, and I love that. I've actually seen a lot of them.
Actually, just got
solar panels going up, and that's actually a good thing. That is one step closer to helping your community.
Word. And I think in California there's a mandate right now regarding new buildings being built.
Yeah.
I think they have to have solar.
Yeah.
In order to build these new buildings. So I think, the fact that solar is here is just showing that, it's a movement, and it's going to hit us, and people should probably hop on that.
Yeah, and I've seen the city beginning to put more solar panels up, But I think we kind of need to take it a step further and just do a little bit more than just solar panels. Like I said, we have the pollution problem. We can even add wind turbines or just more solar panels. Things like that help the environment out a lot.
Definitely going to become a big issue. So yeah, we need to take action.
And we're already feeling, the effects of of pollution.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's just because as we know here in Las Cruces, it's hot as it's hot as heck. Here in Las
It
Cruces.
definitely is hot.
Yeah. So.
I mean, you see the records are breaking every year for more hotter days. Every day we have the most, or every year, I mean, we have the most hot days in a year. Like every year it's just breaking that record, and it's kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and they seem unbreakable until we break them again. Yeah, it's impressive. So we're going to switch the topic now to marijuana. Now there seems to be a general consensus amongst especially young people that marijuana should be decriminalized and legalized. What's your take on that?
I did see Governor Lujan talk about how she wanted to make it legal in 2020, and I can see the benefits on society with it. With a lot of it kind of brings a lot more revenue to the state, being one of the first ones to do it. And I mean, it helped Colorado's economy just surge, and that's great to see. And I think we do need to kind of hop on the boat and just be right there with them.
I also saw some. I'm not too. I believe it was on some report where it's like, you make it legal, crime rates go down.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Do you think is in our area? Do you think the crime rate would go down if we do legalize?
That's a good question.
That's a great one. Yeah.
I mean, statistically, it's shown that it has. So maybe I wouldn't see why not. It wouldn't have the same benefits here than it has in other states.
No, definitely. Because I mean, it's especially with the youth. It's now it seems like everybody's going, especially medical. Everybody's using it as far as brain aneurysms, soreness. A bunch of it does have benefits. What do you think about using marijuana as a medical?
I mean, if it works, go ahead and use it. I mean, I kind of see there's an abuse right now on I don't know if they're called green cards or recreational cards. Those. But they just kind of hand them out here.
Yeah.
And I've seen in plenty other places they do that to the point where it's pretty much already recreational. So I think we might as well legalize it at that point. It would bring a lot of businesses here, and it would help our agriculture a lot.
I definitely think like the biggest problem here with marijuana is more like the culture. We do have a bunch of my grandma. She if it has anything to do with marijuana, she doesn't want to use it. Yeah. Even including like the creams and all the benefits that marijuana has. I feel like the culture in our area is real. Like old school.
Yeah.
Marijuana's bad. I don't want to use it. It's bad for you. Devil's lettuce, whatever. But I mean, it does come with a bunch of benefits.
Yeah, and that's a lot in the Hispanic culture, right? My mother, she has the same stances on it, but at one point we do need to evolve as a society and just kind of get with the program. I mean, if the rest of the states are doing it, we might as well hop on the train now while it's benefitable.
I agree completely. And in terms of the crime rate, this is my unprofessional assumption. I would think that by legalizing and regulating marijuana distribution, it would take away the incentive to distribute it illegally, and consequentially, it would lower the crime rate in regards to marijuana sales outside of.
It would also be nice and good for their health if we were to legalize it, because it would have to be a licensed professional to be able to grow it and sell it, instead of you don't know what these kids are taking now, because you see a lot of this these vape deaths. Yeah, they were from pretty much black market carts or something like that. Cartridges. And that's a problem. We need to kind of just get it more just licensed officials taking care of those problems.
So you definitely don't want to buy it just right off the street. You want to go into a dispensary and get it, the right way. Make sure everything's healthy. Not you're not just getting some random syrup or whatever.
Now I'm going to switch the topic real quick. You and I were talking before the show about the local theater scene. What do you want to say about that?
I mean, we have some pretty interesting people, pretty amazing people in the theater programs here in Las Cruces, and I've met a bunch of them actually, and they're pretty amazing aesthetic people. Like they give off good vibes, and I feel like what we need to do is we need to invest more into our theater programs here in Las Cruces, because I feel like they don't get enough spotlight or enough pretty much wiggle room in those programs. So we need to kind of help them out as a city as well.
Now, George, we are running out of time. Is there anything that you would like to say to the people before we get off of here?
I want to let everybody know that I'm not working with any political party. I'm not working with the Democrats or Republicans, because I refuse to be a puppet to follow their agenda on their stances, on their views in the city. I am working by myself, and I am working for you, for the people. And I am not also working with no PACs. And another thing is I will have a no tolerance policy where there will be no corruption in my administration. No tolerance to any of that. The moment I see some corruption, it's out of here. I'm working hard for you guys, and with your tax paying money, which is hard earned by you, I will benefit Las Cruces and build a better future for Las Cruces as a whole.
Well said. George, thank you very much for saying that. Las Cruces, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Be Heard, where your voice will be heard, with mayoral candidate George A. Sanchez and today's guest, Lorenzo Ramirez. Thank you for coming out today, Lorenzo.
Thank you guys, man.
It was great to have you. Now make sure you tune in next week and watch us for some more hot topics and great discussion.
I am George Sanchez, mayoral candidate, and I approve this message. Esteban Olivas, Treasurer.